Alright, how are we doing, lads? Going to be a bit of a different vein today for today's episode. This was going to be a series I made for noobs, just to teach people the very basics about factions, and how to actually sort of do some of the very basic things. And yeah, I thought there was no better place to start than patching. So basically, in factions, you've got your base, and then you've got other people's bases. Now, those other people will attempt to raid your base using TNT cannons. They're not the small little TNT cannons. You'll be getting absolute monstrosities of TNT cannons looking more or less something like this, with a lot of dispensers, a lot of redstone, and a lot of noticeable parts. But anyway, as cannons are firing, they're going to be putting holes in your walls, and they're going to be going deeper and deeper until they finally breach your spawners, your chests, whatever you're using, they want to get. So there's a couple types of different cannons that you can work against. I'm just going to start pretty basic in this video, and then I'm going to cover a couple of the fringe cases, where to patch, where not to patch, that sort of thing. So we'll give it a fire, and we'll sort of see what the damage looks like from this. So there it goes, so it's not lagging too badly. Bang, bang. Okay, there we go. So that was the first shot. I've got a couple parts of the cannon disabled right now. But you can see it leaves a nice little sizable hole, and it stacks sand from bedrock all the way up to the top here, where it will explode at the top. So what we'll do from here is we'll sort of talk about as just a very quick discussion about what's actually going on here. So I guess in its most basic form here, this cannon is firing two packages at the walls. The packages are timed differently. So your first one is basically your sand, and then your second one is what's called the hammer, which shoots all the sand down. There's a bunch of other parts, but this isn't an episode about cannoning. This is an episode about patching. Now, the important thing to look for is not where it's stacking sand. You don't want to be patching down at the bottom here. You want to be catching where you can visually see the sand hitting the wall. So if we fire this, and hopefully I've got all of my FPS on, which we do, you will see that it actually impacts the wall, and there's a little bit of delay there, where it doesn't actually stack for a little bit. So basically what you can do by doing that is you can sort of work out where this cannon is shooting. So this is a very basic cannon for the time being. But basically, yeah, you just want to be looking for where it's actually stacking that sand there initially, and you want to go straight to that spot. And now once you've worked out where the cannon's shooting, what you can do is you can start patching. So you can use any number of blocks for this. Personal favorite, obviously obsidian, because it's a very hardy block. But what you basically want to be doing is, once you've worked out the Y and X axis, because this will be shooting as a solid block basically, once you shoot out the Y and X axis, which happens to be, what, here? So if I fire again, you should see that it just lands in this block here. Come on. Oh, it's a block high. It's just there. So this block that I'm looking at here, this is where the shot's going to land next. So basically from this point, you've got a couple of options here. So cannon's firing at the moment. You've just worked out that it's firing. You've worked out where the TNT's actually shooting. What you're going to do next is you are going to start stopping the cannon from hitting further walls. So there's sort of two main things that you want to do here. Once you've worked out where it's actually shooting, either A, you can do something called straight line patching, which is patching like this. Or B, what you can also do is you can patch in from the side just like this. Now it's important when you are patching the side that you do want to be patching in a wet area, as in there's water or lava there. But basically what you can do is, if you go like 3 long blocks there, and as long as the TNT is going to be hitting the front block there, you're going to be successfully patching the cannon. So what we'll do here is we'll sort of have a look and see how this works. So it should just fire, bang, 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 bang. And you can see it's getting caught on those obsidian blocks there. So after it's fired again, what you do is you go and you place your blocks again in line with it. Alternatively, you can also place the blocks in front, so just like that. I'll talk about why you don't want to be doing that if you don't know what you're doing in a second as well. So again, just stacks there, and you can see it holds. So yeah, that's sort of the basic fundamentals of it. So what we'll do now is I'll kick this cannon into auto, and you can see what it's like patching against a cannon in auto, and then I'll start turning on the nuke. So I've just autoed the cannon, So it is running at maximum speed at full auto, which is 1.6 seconds. So you can see it starts going, and you can see that's very, very, very fast. So the important thing is just to not worry about where it's hitting. You just want to start catching the shots just like that. And you just want to go back and forth and just try and catch as many shots with those blocks as you can. Now, something that you do need to be keeping in mind is the fact that people will be trying to kill you while you're on your walls and try and let more of those cannon shots through. But yeah, the important thing is just to keep patching like this over and over as fast as you can to just try and hold the cannon back as much as you can. This is quite a hard cannon to patch against just because of the sheer speed that it is firing at. But for the most part, most cannons are going to be running either at or over 2 seconds. So this is a fringe case here, but you can see, again, it is patchable. It isn't impossible to patch this at all. So that's the first scenario there. So I'll just turn the cannon off, and then we'll talk about why the other method of patching isn't so strong. So with the other method of patching, it's called straight line patching, where basically what you do is you patch in a straight line pretty much. You'll just go like that. And again, this is very, very easy to do, but you don't want to get caught doing this if your base is getting attempted hard by a cannon that's specifically designed to force through bases. Because what will happen is for a cannon that's specifically designed to go through bases, what it's going to do, it's going to have something called anti-patch. You can either have just plain anti-patch or efficient anti-patch, but basically what it's going to do is once it destroys, say, these blocks here, what's actually going to happen is while this is dry, it's going to shoot a tunneling shot all the way through. So basically, if you're not careful while doing this, you can have this entire patch ripped out in a single shot. So basically what it's going to look like, I don't actually have anti-patch on this cannon. I do have anti-patch, sort of. It's a bit of a shit scenario, to be honest. That's actually off there. I can't really wire that up, unfortunately. I do have like anti-patch at different ranges. But basically what you want to be looking for is if the cannon, say, stacks, so I'm going to fire it once. If you see the cannon stack against it, and you're patching in a straight line like that, what it's going to do is the second the TNT explodes here, it's going to just tunnel this entire thing out instantly, all the way to the end. But if the cannon doesn't have anti-patch, this is a very, very effective and easy way of patching. Okay, so we covered sort of patching from the side, we covered patching from in front. Now it's going to get even harder. So the cannon's not always going to be shooting in the same spot. With this cannon, as well as most cannons, you can adjust the X and Y height to shoot at different areas of your base. So you need to work out where the cannon is firing as quickly as possible, get into that area and start patching like these two methods. So this is patching without regens basically. If you are patching with regens, I don't have any bases here, but it is important that you look out for what regens you are patching in. If you're patching in normal regens, if you know what normal regens look like, if you're patching in mineshaft regens, heart regens, all of the basic sort of types of regens that you want to patch in, that is fine. The most important regens that you do not want to patch around are regens called hot dog regens and filter regens. So what hot dogs regens will look like is they will look like this. They'll look like two or more parallel rows of blocks, just like that, and there will be alternating lava and water in the middle. Now to bust these, basically what you need to do is you need to shoot your cannon behind them and stack sand all the way back through to destroy the source blocks. Now the reason why you don't want to patch in or around these is, say, if you patch in here, you're going to massively compromise your own regen. If this part here is water and you stack in here, the cannon will do a lot of damage to the regen around it. You do not want that. What you do want to be doing is you want to be patching in front of it, and you don't want to be patching behind it to an extent. If you can see that these regens here are destroyed, then go ahead and start patching in them. But if these regens are fully intact, you do not want to be patching near them. The same goes for, if we stack that 30 up, so yeah, they'll look like that, and they'll just have water in the middle, and then lava every two, basically. This entire thing's going to regen, but it's going to make a mess of my plot, but I don't particularly care for the time being. But whatever you do, do not patch behind these unless they are broken. always patch in front of them. The same goes for these regens here, which are going to be called filters. So with filters, you'll notice that it is sort of the same setup as a hot dog regen, where only the middle blocks are going to be lava and water. But you'll notice that it is sets of 1x1 blocks like that. You will have lava in the middle like that, and there'll be like lava around the front as well. If that, you want to spread? Okay. It'll look something like that, and there'll be water flowing on this side here. So you'll have water flowing down here. This is a really shit example. I have not given myself enough space for this. But yeah, it'll... God, that looks absolutely terrible, doesn't it? But yeah, basically, if you Google filters, I might actually just hop on Complex now. Actually, that's not a bad idea, and I can sort of just show you what I mean. So I'll see if these absolute muppets are still patching their base. Alright, this is actually perfect. So I think if we go F4 top, this is cows. I'm in their faction at the moment. They're alright, they're not great, but points for trying. But basically, their base is heavily based around patching at the front here. So you'll notice there is a massive water tray here. Now this is perfectly set up for you to straight line patch, for you to patch off the sides, and try and catch shots in the middle here. Now where you don't want to be patching is behind these regens here, which are the filters that I just talked about. So they've got a very characteristic look with the 1x1 blocks just like that. You do not want to be patching behind these. You always want to be patching in front of them. Again, these are your hot dog regens here. Do not patch behind these, always patch in front of them. And this is just a rule of thumb for either of those two regens. Now, on the other hand, these regens here, it's a bit hard to see, but you can sort of see the formatting for them up here. These are mine chat regens. If these regens are busted, go ahead and patch in them. You actually want to patch in these regens if they are destroyed, because what you can do is you can push the lava and the cobblestone around when you are getting attempted, and it will make an absolute mess. Same goes for here. With lava walls and water walls, if you can intentionally push your water into your lava to make cobblestone, it becomes an absolute pain in the ass to deal with for players when they are raiding, because it's going to be basically a regenerating cobblestone mess that's very hard to get into, and it's going to be very unpredictable as to how it forms. So if you can, always patch there. I believe actually you can see the result just here of an earlier attempt on this base. You can see how there's just cobblestone and shit everywhere through that. And that's purely just because people have been patching in the water and patching in the lava, and then, yeah, it just creates an absolute mess, and it's very hard to deal with.